Good evening, everyone. We're going to hang on here for another minute and make sure that people get on so they can view this, and we'll get going in just a couple minutes. All right, clock says 6:30, so I want to respect your time tonight. I appreciate those that are on. I appreciate you coming on. I've got information, excuse me, information regarding the first 3 days of school, what school's going to look like. Once I give the information, we'll do the same thing we've done in the past. I will answer questions. I know that we have staff that come on and watch these tonight and can answer questions also. As you can imagine, things have been, just like for our families, things have been going at lightning speed for the staff and everybody here at school. And so I want to first say that as we move into Wednesday, I like to say we're gonna go slow to go fast. We're gonna ease into this for both the staff and our students and families. This is new for everybody. Many of our staff have just been able to get into their advisory classes today, literally, late last week for some. And so as they get used to the program and the platform, they'll be working our students through it also. So when we start on Wednesday, it's going to be new for everybody. So the staff and the students and the parents are all going to be learning this at the same time. And so we need to really ease our way into this the first few days, make sure everybody knows how to access the platform and where everything is at. And then once everybody gets comfortable with it, then we'll start moving. And as we move through the first trimester, I think that those that are able to access the platform will be able to pick it up pretty quickly. There's going to be a lot of support provided. There'll be a lot of communication from our staff to our students and our families, from myself to our families. So just make sure that those of your friends and neighbors that maybe don't watch the live forum tonight or haven't watched them, and I know that some of our families don't check their emails quite very often, but we're going to try to expand our presence on social media. Just in all honesty, I need to get up to speed on that also. I'm not a big social media user. But I know that many of our families and our students are, and so we are working to make sure we get out as much information on all platforms that we can to keep our parents informed. So keep communicating with your neighbors and your friends. Like I said, remind them to check their emails. Remind them that if I would get in the habit of checking. I don't know why. I think we've got it fixed a little bit with the emails that I send out on School Messenger. I think more of them are going to inboxes instead of to spam and junk folders. But make sure to check your spam and junk folders in case something gets put in there. And then if there is something in there from the school, make sure you mark it that it's not spam or junk. So good news I have tonight is the state has extended the meal program that we're currently under until December 31st, or as they say, if funds run out. So currently and through the summer, any community member 18 years and younger could get food at school during the week. That's going to continue, like I said. So the meal program, as it has been, breakfast and lunch will be provided here at school. The student will need to show up with the parent or by themselves, or the parent will need to get the waiver form signed like they currently use if the student's not going to be with them to pick up the food. I would, though, encourage all families that if you feel like you need assistance, please follow up and continue to apply for the federal free and reduced lunch program. Because at some point, this is going to run out, and they are going to change back to the free and reduced lunch program that we normally have during the school year. So I would encourage, if you know people that are in need, many families are in need right now with everything going on. So if you feel that you know families that are in need, please encourage them or yourself to fill out the paperwork, contact the district, and make sure you're applying for the federal free and reduced lunch program. Another bit of good news is our first order of hotspots came in. We contacted about 20 parents today to come pick up hotspots so that they can get internet access at their homes. I know 20 doesn't sound like a lot, but it was 20 more than we had on Friday. And we will continue to get the hotspots in, and we'll continue to contact our parents that have qualified for them and get those to them as soon as we can. Let's talk about the first 3 days of school. I know there's a lot of anxiety with what's going to happen the first 3 days of school. Like I said earlier, we are going to go slow to go fast, and we're going to take the first 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, to ease our students into this, provide some support for our staff, let them get used to instructing in this manner. And so day one, so here's what we need for the first 3 days of school. And again, I really appreciate everybody's support, and I really appreciate everybody's support and in working with our families and making sure that the news gets out. I know that many of our families don't have a lot of connectivity, and many don't have access to the internet. Cell service is spotty in many areas. So I really do appreciate our families making sure the word gets out. So the first day of school on Wednesday, we need every student to log into their advisory class at one of two times. They only have to log in one of the two times. The first time is 9 to 11 a.m. and the second time is 12:30 to 2:30. So again, they don't have to log in both times. They only need to log in one of those times. But it's important that, and I know many students will be working in what they're calling asynchronous, which is offline in off hours when live instruction isn't necessarily taking place. Because it is an online platform, it's available 24/7. So we know that many of our students will be doing that. But for these 3 days, we really need students to log in during these times, one of the two times. Again, 9 to 11, 12:30 to 2:30. And during those times, the teacher will be live. They'll be involved in live chats, and the whole purpose of the first 3 days is just like a regular normal school year. The first few days are spent with the teacher getting to know their students, building relationships with them, finding out how they learn best, and a little bit of instruction takes place with the curriculum, but most of the first few days is spent getting to know each other and getting to establish kind of a culture in the classroom about what's expected. And so the same thing is going to happen here. On the first day, there basically will be 4 objectives that we want our students to learn and to know by the end of the 2-hour period. The first one is obviously how to log into the K-12 platform. The second one is to ensure their device is compatible with the K-12 platform. The Chromebooks are, if you have a Chromebook from school, they are compatible. But some of our kids are using their own devices. They might have an iPad, or they might have some other tablet, might have a desktop or whatever they have at home that they're using. So at the end of the first day, at the end of that 2-hour period, they will know whether their device is compatible or not. The third thing is to be able to send and receive emails to and from their advisory teacher. It's important that the students understand how to email and contact and communicate with their teacher. If they can do it with their advisory teacher, they can do it with the rest of their teachers. And the fourth thing is to ensure they're in the correct classes, and to make sure that if they're not, we get them in the right classes. So by Wednesday, right now, they won't be able to see any of their classes on K-12. They can see them in Skyward, We're still in the process of uploading the classes to the K-12 platform. By Wednesday or Thursday, they should be able to see their classes. So we want to make sure that they're in the correct classes, and to contact their school counselor if they're not, or they have a question about their classes. So that's day one. Again, we ask they log in for 2 hours, and we're giving them 2 options, a morning option and an afternoon option. So please help us with that if you can, and make sure that your son or daughter is online. Again, if you do have connectivity issues, the assistant principals have been calling families. We have a list of who we think has connection issues, but when we make phone calls, some of them say, no, we have the internet, and then some of them say, no, we don't. So I'm not sure the list we have is completely accurate, but so by Wednesday, or actually by the end of the day tomorrow, all the people on our list should have received a phone call. So if you have not received a phone call and you have connectivity issues, please email me, B Kipper, the letter B as in boy, KIPPER @sheltonschools.org. And I will get it to the right administrator, and we'll make sure that we do whatever we can to help you get connectivity. So that's day one. There's 4 objectives for the students. Day 2 is going to look a lot like day 1, except we're going to kind of crank it up a little bit. Again, there's going to be 3 objectives on day 2. The first one is that the students will be able to log into and enter each of their classes on the K-12 platform. So by then, classes will be uploaded. They'll be able to see their classes on K-12, and they'll be able to access those and get into those classes by the end of the day on Thursday. The second one is be familiar with navigating the K-12 home screen. Again, I would encourage all of our students to get onto the K-12 platform. They should have they should have registered and have their account set up by now. If you have not received an email from K-12 with your account, how to register your account, please email myself, or if you know your if you know your school counselor, you can email them, and they will get right on it, because they have a list of all of the registration access for all of our students, so they can help you with that. And the third thing is they'll be able to enter each one of their K-12 classes, and or some of our students will have classes on Google Classroom, and they'll be able to email their teacher. So by the end of day 2, so day 1 they're kind of getting to learn the K-12 platform. By the end of day 2, they'll be able to enter their classes and be able to communicate with their teachers, and then on day 3 is going to be pretty simple. We do have some, and I will send this out to parents. We do have some online learning expectations for our students, just like we have expectations when they come to school. The one thing I want to address and talk about is it's really important that our students understand that this is the mode that we're in for learning right now. It is their school, whether they're at home or they're at school or they're at a relative's house or wherever they might be at. When they're in a live session, it's like they're in the classroom. They need to be addressed. They need to be dressed appropriately. They need to act appropriately. They need to respect the other people that are on the live class with them. Their classmates. It's no different than if they're sitting in a classroom. So I will send out this template to parents in an email tomorrow, and your students are going to see it on Friday. And it's important that over the weekend you go over that with them and make sure that they understand the expectations. We don't need to be disrupting a student's learning because they're misbehaving on the class in the K-12 platform. So the same expectations for behavior in the classroom here at school exist for the same being on the K-12 platform. So that's the first 3 days. They're going to, like I said, we're going to ease into this. Also, we're going to use, there are some attendance expectations that the state has set out while we're on the K-12 or while we're on the online platform. So from from Wednesday until October 5th, they have, I wouldn't say they have laxed the attendance policies because attendance will still be taken. What they have done is they've added a new code called a non-truancy remote learning absence. That's a mouthful. It basically means that a student doesn't log in at all to any of their classes on a given day. And until October 5th, they're not counting that as either excused or unexcused. It's still counted as an absence, but it's not counted as either excused or unexcused. It'll be recorded as a non-truancy remote learning absence. So that gives us some time, and it gives our families some time to figure out the whole, how are they going to call in attendance? How are we going to take attendance? Because to be honest with you, a student can be in attendance and not be marked absent and not attend any live sessions. If they log in the evening and they do their work in the evening and they watch the videos, they watch the recordings of the live session, they submit an assignment, that's attendance, even though it might take place at 8 o'clock at night. So what does a student have to do to be counted as participating in class? So there's several things that a student can do to be counted as not, or to be not marked absent. I know that's like a double negative, but I don't know how else to say it. So student participation can look like daily logins to the K-12 platform. They log into the platform, they get on a class, they get on multiple classes. They have a daily interaction with teachers, which it could include emails, messages, phone calls, or video chats. So if the student emails their teacher, asks them a question about a particular thing that happened in a lesson, that's considered participating. Also, evidence of completing a task or an assignment if they submit an assignment online. So maybe they had an assignment due and they submit it. That's considered participation. And students can demonstrate this participation outside of the regularly scheduled school day. So we have a bell schedule. It's online. It's on our website. And again, I will state we do expect students to log in during those times. That's when things are going to happen. That's when teachers are going to have live lessons. That's when support's going to be available, help if they need it to, if they're having problems with a particular subject or a particular lesson, that's when help will be available. So we do expect students to log in during the school day. But as I've said in the past, we know that things are going to happen, and many households have multiple children that need to be online. So some learning is going to take place outside of the regular school day, and that's fine. They can still be considered present and not marked absent as long as they're logging in. Okay. After October 5th, though, we will be designating excused or unexcused absences. So we will have the procedure before October 5th out to our families and our teachers about how attendance will be recorded and how we will be designating whether an absence is excused or unexcused. There will be a procedure for parents to call in, just like in past school years. So that's the information I have for you that I wanted to give out. Let me go to the chat and see what kind of questions we have tonight. And again, I want to thank the many staff members that are watching tonight. Some of them are answering questions in the chat line. They're providing more information regarding who to contact or who the school counselors might be and what grade levels they might handle. So I appreciate our staff members for attending at night. And just so our parents know they're doing this out of the goodness of their heart. We're not making them come on here at night. They want to hear information we pass on to our parents, and many of them are parents also. And so they are taking the time out of their schedule to be on here. So I really appreciate that. And I do have to say that I've only been here a short period of time, but I am impressed by the collaboration of our staff and how people help each other. We've had several teachers that have been making videos and instructions for our staff on how to access different K-12 tools and creating videos to show the students. So I'm just really impressed that the efforts our staff goes to help each other and to help our families. So I really appreciate that. So we have a question about food programs for students that might be outside of the Shelton area. An example would be Hoodsport. Let me find out. I don't know the, all I know right now is that the program is going to continue where families can come to Shelton High School and pick up food. But let me find out what if anything can be done or is being done for our families that might live outside the immediate area. I'm going to write that down real quick, and I appreciate Amy. I appreciate you bringing that up. And again, there's a comment in here about introducing myself. I apologize. I'm not the best at that. I'll be honest with you. And again, I'm Bruce Kipper. I'm the principal here at Shelton. I do apologize. I get so excited about wanting to get this information out that I probably need to slow down and make sure I do that at the beginning of each forum. So thank you for reminding me. And again, I just have to be reminded of that. So I appreciate it. And there's a question about can we use our buses and our bus drivers to maybe take lunches and meals out into the community? I know that's something that's been brought up in the past meetings with district and school administrators. So let me, I'm going to get more information about the food program and what might be done. And I will get information out to our families if something different than what we currently have comes up. But it is a good idea to try to maybe go out into our community to provide instead of just making our community come to us. So I do appreciate that suggestion. Also, before I go on with the questions, if you know of somebody who needs a Chromebook, they can still go onto the district website, and there's an email and a phone number on there. They can do either one. They can email or call, and the tech department will make arrangements, and students or parents can pick up a Chromebook. So just because you may have missed the distribution days last week doesn't mean they can't get a Chromebook. So I would encourage any family that needs a device to continue to call the district or email that number. So go to the district website on the alert that pops up at the very beginning. Scroll down a little bit and you'll see about Chromebooks. It's also on our school website, also on the alert. Let me see what we have on here. I know that our staff is answering a lot of the questions, and I appreciate that. So one of the questions is, what happens if a student, let's say, I don't know, let's say they go out of town for a weekend with their family and they're visiting relatives or something, and they're going to be gone on a Friday or a Monday or whatever the day might be. Can they log on like twice, or can they log on like the next day 2 different times to make up for the Wednesday? I don't think so. Although the absence would be excused, of course, and so there wouldn't really be any penalty to the student. As we've said, like the beauty of being online, unlike being in person, if you miss a day of instruction in class, you can make up the work, but you miss what happens in the class. We don't typically record the classes, so the student can't go back and watch it. on this platform, everything's going to be recorded. There are already pre-recorded lessons that the students watch, and then the teachers will be making and supplementing videos. Those will also be uploaded onto the platform, and so a student can really watch the lesson at any time, and so they can make up the instruction. They can kind of get it. So there really won't be a penalty to the students if they miss a day and it's excused. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. I mean, obviously, just like if we're in person, we want students in school. We don't want them missing school, but we do understand that things come up. But I think this platform will allow for students to go back and make up their work and see lessons online and videos, and they can email their teachers for support also. So I don't know if it's necessarily I don't know if it's necessary to, like, quote unquote, make up an absence. And there's a question, yes. So the first day of school is Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we talked about earlier what's going to happen in the classes. We're going to evaluate on Friday. We have a 3-day weekend. So on Tuesday, on Tuesday, teachers will either ease into their lessons in their classes, or we will have a 4th day of letting students and staff get to know the platform. And we're doing that because of the late nature of getting everybody online and getting everybody registered for the platform. So if we need a 4th day, we're going to take it. But we'll evaluate that after day 2 and day 3. We'll evaluate that and let parents know and let students know what's going to kind of occur when we come back from the 3-day weekend. Again, even if we do move forward with our classes and getting into the curriculum, it doesn't mean that we're going to jump right in and kids are going to be overloaded. It's going to be eased into. And if you look at the bell schedule, I would encourage everybody to go to the website, look at the bell schedule. There are priority days. So we want to make sure that not every department and every class offers like a live detailed lesson on Monday. Because the last thing we want is for kids to have 5 classes where everything's live and everything's, really deep and rigorous and difficult. So the departments have worked together and we have priority days. So on Monday, there's a couple of departments, that's their priority day. If they want to have live lessons and get real deep into it, that's their day to do that. The other days, the kids would go on and they would do their lessons online, just like what's available on there. And then Tuesday is a different couple of departments. So that way we don't have everybody overloading the kids on any one particular day. So if you have not, there's a question about, are parents supposed to have a link for K-12, or do they just register? Do not go to the K-12 website and just try to register. That's registering for something different. You should have received an email from K-12 with specific login information. If you did not receive it, please contact the counseling center. I apologize for the verbiage. I'm used to calling it the guidance center, but I know here they call them school counselors. So I try to correct myself and use the counseling center. So if you did not receive an email, parents, if you did not receive an email from K-12 with specific login information for you and your child, contact the counseling center. You can either send an email to myself and I'll forward it to them. You can send an email to Aaron Joseph, who is the counseling assistant over there. Or if you know your counselor's email, you can send an email to them. And we have a list of the specifics and can get that to you so that you can create your account and make sure that that everything's ready to go for Wednesday. And I did send out a link for that earlier, and on instructions on how to do that. And again, it's tied to your email. It's in Skyward. So if we don't have an email for you here at school, please contact us and make sure we get that in so you can get all the information. There's a question about returning equipment or instruments from last year. you can simply come to, if you have something you need to return to school, you can simply come to school. We are, the building is closed officially, but we have staff here. If you come to the main school, please make sure you're wearing a mask. Come to the main office. There's a doorbell, believe it or not. It's the first school I've worked at that we've installed a doorbell. But we have a doorbell on the front. You ring the doorbell, we hear it inside, and somebody will come out and help you. We can get your instrument back to the music teacher or wherever it needs to go, or whatever you might have. If you have textbooks, it doesn't matter. We can get them back to where they need to go. You simply need to drop them off at school. Again, another question about Chromebooks. Yes, they're still available. Just look at the district website or the school website on the alert on the front page, and you will see the information on either to email or call and leave a message, and they'll call you back. Email is probably the easiest, but a good old phone call works too. So there's a question about the difference between Skyward and K-12. They are two different platforms. So the best way to explain it is Skyward is the student information system that the Shelton schools use to house pretty much everything with regards to our students. So all of our families' contact information is in there, transcripts, schedules, just grades, everything is in there. That's how we house all the information for our students. K-12 is a independent platform that offers curriculum for schools. K-12 is a very large company. They're national. They're working with many school districts around the country, many school districts in Washington State, and they're providing the curriculum for our classes. So what we did is we looked at the K-12 platform and their list of courses and their course descriptions to see which classes they offered that matched the classes that we offer. So if a student's in algebra, we looked at the K-12 platform to find out what algebra class matched our algebra class. And so that's the class that they'll be taking on the K-12 platform. On their transcript, when they get their grades, it will list the Shelton High School class. So when you get your report cards, whatever it's called in our handbook, in our registration book, that's what it'll show on the transcript and on the report cards you get. If you look on the K-12, when you go into the classes, it's going to have their title. So they're one and the same. Skyward and K-12 talk to each other a little bit, enough so that it's not overcomplicated to transfer information back and forth, but it's not a 100% compatibility. There's a little bit of work involved with uploading classes and that type of stuff. But just think of it as two separate platforms. Again, Skyward is our student information system, and the K-12 platform is a learning management platform that houses the curriculum. So there's a question about Running Start. And again, I'm still learning a lot of the programs that are offered in Washington State. We had similar programs in Arizona. They were just called different things. But if your child is in Running Start, I would contact your counselor here at school about the procedure and what has to happen. Question about where will grades be posted? This is a good question. You'll see grades and progress reports in K-12, but the grades that you're going to want to pay attention to are going to be in Skyward. So when a grading period comes up, and let's say it's the end of the first trimester and final grades for the trimester are going to be posted. You'll want to pay attention to what's posted in Skyward. Those are going to be the official grades. Those are going to be the grades that are going to be on the report cards, progress reports, those type of things. Another question about, are all grades doing K-12 or only high school? So our entire district is on the K-12 platform while we're online or in the hybrid model. So if you've paid attention to any of the school board meetings or the community forums that Dr. Apostle has had, we have 3 stages: stage A, stage B, and stage C. Stage A is all online. Stage B is a hybrid where the students come to school 2 days a week and then are home for 3 days a week. And then stage C is when we're completely back 100% in person. So while we're in A and B, we will be in K-12, all of our grade levels. The elementary schools are doing it a little bit different than the high school. So the elementary and middle and junior high are just doing 4 classes. They're doing their 4 core areas. They're not having any of the supplemental or the electives. At the high school, we're offering every class that we can. Every class that we offered for pre-registration when kids were signing up for classes, we're offering. The majority of those classes are on the K-12 platform. However, there's a limited number of classes that are going to be taught through Google Classroom because we did not want to deprive students of the courses that they wanted, for one, and 2, we know they need for the future. And I feel bad that the elementary and the middle schools don't get to do the same thing, but I can only worry about the high school. So I just felt it was important that when we worked with district administration that we were able to offer all of our courses. So there will be, so if a student has a course on Google Classroom, and I did send out a list to the parents, a list of all the courses, and I'll send out another one before the start of school, just to remind people. We're also going to put them on our website. You can look on the school website and see the list also. So if a teacher has some, like some of our CTE teachers, like if you take automotive or welding, pretty much all their classes are in Google Classroom because K-12 doesn't offer welding, for instance. But the students advisory class is on K-12. So on Wednesday, everybody will log into K-12, including the teachers that have Google Classroom classes. And so those at that time, by the end of the day on Friday, they will have information on how to access a class if it's in Google Classroom. If they do have a class in the Google Classroom, they won't see it on K-12. That's how they'll know. But again, we will make sure that we send the list out. And again, it's going to be on our website. So if you see a student, so if you look at Skyward, you're going to see their 5 classes. If you look at K-12 and only 4 of them are there, then that means that one of the classes is a Google Classroom. And again, the teacher will make sure that they know how to access that in advisory on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Okay. Another question. So the question is specifically about band classes and how they're going to work. But this could go for a lot of classes, a variety of classes that we're offering in the elective area. They're going to look different, obviously, in the beginning. There will be a lot of individual instruction regarding, like, let's take band, for instance. Students will play their instruments at home. There will be video assessments. Students will have to maybe upload at times them playing so that the instructor can evaluate them and can help them and provide them with assistance until we get into like a hybrid model where kids are back on campus. Band and the vocal music and the theater classes, they're all going to look a little bit different. But that's okay. We wanted to make sure we offer those classes. Eventually, we'll be back in person eventually. Although none of us know when that is, we will be at some point. And so we did not want to deprive the students of those opportunities. So again, there's going to be a period of getting used to it and easing into it and adjusting to what we've normally done in the past. But they're just going to look a little different. And the instructors will walk the students through that when they get online. Again, there's a student on here that's a Running Start in the Running Start program. I would suggest that you contact your school counselor. You can always send me an email and I will get it to the appropriate person. So we can get somebody in contact with you regarding the process for Skyward or for Running Start and what that looks like. And here's an interesting question about PE. We are offering PE, believe it or not. Again, it's going to look different. I have to hand it to all of our teachers, but with this particular question, our PE staff and our health staff have been working hard. They'll be creating videos, and students will be required to do a certain amount of exercise each week. And the students will have a choice. They can participate in cardio activity by running or hiking. There's going to be yoga videos. There's going to be aerobic videos. There's going to be a variety of options for students to partake in to meet their physical education requirement. So it actually is a very creative way that they've done that, and I have to hand it to them. They have really worked hard on that, and I think the students are going to like it because they're going to have a variety of things they can do to meet the expectations. And again, they're going to be required to either they could be required to upload a video of them exercising. They could be required to log in how much time they exercised, what type of exercise they did. But the teachers are going to be very flexible with that. If you haven't got your Skyward account, and I sent out instructions on how to access Skyward. If you did not get those, please email me and I will make sure that you get the instructions. And then after you get the instructions, if you still have issues, let me know and I can certainly put someone in contact with you. But for the most part, the feedback is once the parents get the instructions, they've been able to access Skyward. So again, if you know of anybody or you have not been able to get your Skyward account, let me know. Send me an email and I will send those instructions out right away. We have a first-time visitor with us tonight, and we appreciate and welcome you to the forum. My plan is to have these once a week for the foreseeable future. Like I think I said in the last forum, I wished I would have kind of known to do this earlier in my career. I think it's a great way to get information out. The forum this tonight will be saved on the YouTube page, so if somebody wasn't able to get on tonight, they can access it anytime to watch it. The first two are still on there, so I leave them up there for people to watch if they need to, if they weren't able to watch it live. We've had several people ask about food being delivered to the neighborhoods and the communities. That's something I'm going to look into. I have it written down, and I will look into it tomorrow and ask some questions with our district administrators and find out if there's been any discussions and where those discussions have gone. So there's a specific question regarding welding, but I want to talk about this in regards to overall CTE courses and other courses also. About, is it going to be just all book work and obviously no hands-on? The answer is no. It's not going to be 100% book work. We are putting together a plan to bring small groups of students onto campus when we meet the right protocols, when we meet the right criteria to be able to do that. Our goal is within a few weeks of school starting that hopefully we're meeting the protocols, we're meeting the guidelines that allow us to bring small groups of students onto campus. Because we know, one, we know students are going to need support. And we know, two, there are classes that hands-on is absolutely, I mean, it's the core of the class. You know, I asked this question to some other district administrators about, like, how do you learn how to weld if you don't ever held a welder in your hand? Like, we have to be able to get kids onto campus, but we have to do it. We have to do it right, and we're not going to rush into it. We're going to make sure that people we're following the protocols and that we can do it safely. But yes, we are going to work as hard as we can to make that happen as soon as possible. Again, I think I stated in I think the first forum that probably won't happen before the third week of school. So we'll need to go 2 to 3 full weeks of school before we'll be able to do that. And the instructors of those classes said that they can do that. So there won't. There's a question about swim. There won't be any swim classes where kids are in the pool first trimester. It'll all be, regardless of what PE class they're signed up for, it will all be geared around physical activity outside of the pool. If we can get back second trimester, if we can get back to some sort of either hybrid or fully in person, then we can look at utilizing the pool. But for now, the pool will not be utilized. So again, with regards to K-12, if you cannot, if you haven't got the email with the instructions, email me and I will get on it first thing. And well, we have our staff meeting with Dr. Apostle, but as soon as that's over in the morning, I will get right on that and make sure that you can get the access that you need, because I know it's important for Wednesday. There's some comments regarding contacting staff members and maybe not getting responses. I think I've made it pretty clear to our staff that I think that 24 hours to respond is plenty of time for our staff to respond. If you're not getting a response within 24 hours, please let me know. If you forward the email to me, I'll get it to the right person. I think, and I get it. Like, I'm trying to return, hundreds of emails a day, and at the same time trying to get ready for the start of school. So I understand where there may be an instance or two where we can't meet the 24-hour deadline. But once we get into school and things settle down a little bit, 24 hours should be plenty of time to return an email or a phone call. But if you feel like it's gotten lost or nobody's responding, please just email me, forward it to me. I'll get it to the right person. And please understand that we're not ignoring emails or phone calls. That's one of my pet peeves. I'll be honest with you. We may not be able to solve all of our problems or all of your problems, but the one thing we can do is respond. So my expectation is we do respond. If we don't know the answer, we find the answer. If we don't know the answer the first time, we'll find it the second time. So be patient with us as we get the start of school and we get into the school year. But if you feel like you're having issues with getting a response, please let me know. So one of the questions is, what if all schoolwork is completed on a certain, so let's say you have a lesson in a certain class, and or you have a unit, let's say, and the student completes all the work in the unit before the unit is technically over. Do they have to log back on? I'm not sure how that will work. I think we need to see the K-12 platform more. I think students need to get into it. So as of right now, the student just needs to log in to a particular class or interact with a particular teacher to not be marked absent. Eventually, they're going to have to log into all their classes. Eventually, once we get more into it, and I think there will be stuff for them to do every day. It may not be a lot, but there might be something to respond to, or even if they're checking the calendar to see what's coming up, that would be considered participating and logging in. So while there might not be technically an assignment to do or work to do, there will be things they can log into and look at, like I said, like the calendar to see what's coming up. But we've got until October the 5th to figure that out. And until we actually get into the platform and we're working inside the platform, I think a lot of the answers will come up once we actually can get into it. And students are working on it. So there's a question about NJROTC. Right now, that class is online, just like every other class. The two instructors are putting together the class on Google Classroom. And so students will log into that class just like any other class at this time. Again, once we get to a hybrid model where students are in on campus for however length of time, then we will they'll be able to resume as close to normal activities as possible. Yes, there's a question about communication between the school and parents on how things are going. Yes, there will be regular communication with our families. Teachers will have regular communication with the students and the parents on, if a student maybe is not logging in, or the teacher hasn't seen them in a few days. Also, we'll continue with these forums so parents can come on and ask questions that they may have concerns about, or they're not sure about something. These forums will be available, but we will get information out. We'll communicate with our families, and there will be a lot of communication with the teachers and our families. Question about email updates as well as priority days. So the priority days, you can look at the bell schedule on the website and see what days those are. Those won't change, at least for now. When we come back in a hybrid model, they might be adjusted a little bit. But while we're fully online, that's the bell schedule we're going with, and the priority days. So those are available on our website. I'm sure that you'll get email updates from K-12. You'll also get email updates from myself as well as teachers. The goal is to communicate as much as we can with our families. There's a question about, specifically with regards to welding and a book they may need. We do understand that the classes that are in K-12, everything is embedded in K-12 that a student needs. They don't need any additional materials outside of the K-12 platform. Now, teachers can add videos and those type of things to it, but they don't need a textbook. They don't need any outside hard copy, I would say, resources. The Google Classroom is a different story. So the instructors of the Google Classroom classes will let the students know what books they'll need, and we will make those available for pickup here at school. Most likely the second week of school, that we'll set up times where students can come in or parents can come in and pick up the needed materials for those Google Classroom classes. One of the questions is, a student has weight training as one of his classes. Again, that will fall under whatever the PE options are. And a student doesn't necessarily have to do weight training while we're online. They'll have their choice of a variety of activities to partake in. Once we come back again to some type of in-person, then they would be involved in their weight training class. The question is, what about work on the weekends? Yeah, I mean, the beauty of online is it can be done 24/7, and students could do on the weekend if they want, but there won't be any necessarily assigned work. Like I know in the past when we're in person, you know, teachers might give assignments on Friday and the students have the weekend to do them. And I guess if they're online and they have assignments due, or they have assignments on Fridays, if they don't get them done, they can do them on the weekend. But it's not the same as being in person. It's going to depend a lot on how much the student procrastinates. And again, during the first forum, we went over some of those characteristics of being an effective online learner, and one of them was to be organized. One of them was to stay ahead, stay on target, don't get behind. So, you know, again, we would encourage all of our families to make sure that they're helping their son or daughter have a routine, but have the routine be a little flexible, have a designated work area or a workspace that the student can treat as their classroom, and get some exercise during the day, make sure they're eating properly, make sure they're getting proper rest. All of those things that makes a good student when they're here at school is going to make a good student when they're online. So you want to treat this like it's school, like it's their classroom, and they have school every day. The question about, is there a chance that a student might go to school, for instance, like a student with an IEP? There's a chance that we will be bringing students in small groups onto campus for support. So yes, there is an opportunity for students to be on campus when they need assistance or they need to fulfill some type of requirement, like we talked about earlier with some of our CTE courses. Again, that won't take place the first few weeks of school, but there is an opportunity for that to happen, yes. And especially our IEP staff, our special ed staff knows that that they're going to be monitoring their students to see who might need more support. So again, what time? There was a question about what time does school start on Wednesday. Remember, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're asking students to log in at one of two times. If they're a morning person and they want to get it over with, they can log into their advisory class between 9 and 11 in the morning. If they're not necessarily a morning person, they want to do it in the afternoon, they can do it from 12:30 to 2:30. The teachers are going to be live, their advisory teacher will be live with them in those two time frames. They only have to do one. They don't have to do them both. A question about extra supports for some of our more rigorous classes, AP courses, foreign language classes, pre-AP courses. Yes, the teachers will be scheduled. If you look on the Bell schedule, each teacher has what we're calling office hours, either before or after school. During that, once we get past the first 3 days, and the advisory period is 4 days a week, there's going to be support offered during the advisory periods. And then students are always welcome to contact their teachers individually and try to set up times at other times to get support also. But we're also working with a program called Math Motivators to provide math support outside of the school day, virtually online. More information will be coming out about that as we get started in school. There's a question about, are students expected to be online the entire school day? Not necessarily. It depends. It depends on what's going on in the classes on that day, and it depends on how motivated the student is to work. Remember, the lessons are embedded into the program. Students can do those at any time of the day. So while the teachers will be available during those class periods, and students, there may or may not be a live lesson that they would log into, they're certainly available to do those during those posted hours. So how are the live videos going to be available on K-12? So basically, the instructors can go on. There's a feature just like Zoom. It's called Neuro. It's K-12's version of Zoom, and students would log in and go into the live session where the teacher will be available. Those live sessions will be recorded and uploaded onto the site that can be watched at a later time. There's a question about the K-12 app. I'm going to need to check into that. I'm not sure. I don't know if I would recommend the app or not. I think logging into the site on a device would be more reliable. But let me ask about the app, and I can cover that or get information out to the parents. Question regarding the hotspot, how many devices will it run? It depends on it depends on how reliable a cell service you have. If you have strong cell service, the hotspot will support it more and provide higher speeds. Will it be able to work 5 Chromebooks at the same time? I don't know the answer to that. I would guess not. 5 devices seems, I have cell service, I have internet service at my house. I can't run 5 devices at my house. But that's where I think it's going to take some coordination on when students are online. And I know the younger students in elementary have specific times they have to be online. And that would allow the older students that are in high school to do their work outside of what would be our normal class hours, which is fine. So I'm not sure that I think it all depends on how strong your cell service is, how many devices you'll be able to run. There's a question about downloading programs onto the Chromebooks. For K-12, I don't know if it'll be necessary. I think everything is embedded into the K-12 program that you need. One thing that we're trying to find out is, can you download things from the K-12 to your desktop and work on it offline, and then when you have internet service, then go back online to upload it back to the platform. That's what we're trying to figure out, because that would help a lot of our students. That um, if they don't have reliable internet service, and we can get them either here at school or someplace where they do have internet service, they could download things from the K-12 platform to their desktop. They could work on it offline and then come back to the site where they have reliable service and then upload it back when they're done with it. That's one thing we're trying to find out. Now, that would help a lot of our families, I think, and would help make sure that students are being able to access everything. I think we're getting down to, we have a question about getting their son's ID being new to school. First of all, welcome to Shelton High School. We're both new, I guess. So if you want to send me an email, I will I'll get your son's ID number, and I'll have one of the, either Mr. Joseph or one of the counselors contact you to make sure everything's in order with their schedule and make sure they're registered properly and stuff, and you've got your K-12 information. So if you just email me, I will get that information to them. Students with 504 plans, obviously, if a student has a 504 plan, we're required by law to follow it. Somebody in the counseling center will be contacting you, making sure that we are following the plan and providing the proper assistance as required. So there's another question about, they haven't heard anything about a hotspot yet. Obviously, we have a number of families that have connectivity issues. I've got all 4 administrators and myself working on this. We met this morning, and I told them this is our number 1 priority, is making sure we know we need to know every single family whether they have internet or not. And so the other 4 administrators are calling. I know that's all they did today was call families. So if you haven't received a call yet, you will. If you don't receive a call by the end of the day tomorrow, send me an email on Wednesday. And we will make sure that we're looking into it and doing what we can. So the question is about the bell schedule and the early release on Friday. So yeah, I mean, technically on Fridays while we're online, the school day technically ends an hour earlier. That's to provide our teachers with time to meet in their PLCs and to work collaboratively and to make sure that we're servicing our students and that we're providing the best instruction we can. So yeah, when we come back in person, that bell schedule may look a little different, but right now so technically, yes. So if somebody wants me to cover again with regards to the live lessons and the question about if your child's registered but you haven't received an email yet. So if you cannot access K-12 and you haven't created your account and your child's account, then you need to email me so we can get on it right away. You should have received an email from K-12 with specific instructions. The live lessons, students will see that in their calendar when they go into their calendar on K-12. They will see that there's a live lesson scheduled in their math class on Tuesday during second period. Then they'll log in if they want to go into that live lesson. They will log in during that class period, and then there will be instructions on how to log into that. That's what students are going to find out the next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is how to do that. Looks like we got some, I guess, I would call it Zoom bombers, but we're not on Zoom. YouTube bombers, I guess. So we appreciate your humor. I think that's all I can say. Again, I spoke about the 504 plans. The counselor will be reaching out to the students regarding that. So that's all the questions I see. If I missed anything, make sure to email me and I will get back to you right away. I appreciate you coming on. We are a few minutes over. And again, look forward to getting the school year started on Wednesday. If you have any questions, please email me, and we will see everybody next week. Same time, same place. Have a great night.